Alrighty, and we are live. How's it going? Mets and overall hockey fans, baseball fans, I should say. Why did I say? Someone said hockey in the chat, so that threw me off right away. Oh my, it's been a crazy night. What was a roller coaster of a ball game thankfully goes in the Mets' favor as they win by a final score in their series finale against the Washington Nationals by a score of 9-8. A lot of frustrations in this game on the bullpen front. Buck Showalter's decisions and lack thereof when it came about right decisions. So I'm going to drill in the Buck a little bit. I'm not going to lie. I'm not happy with the bullpen decisions. However, the offense finally broke out after what was a flat past 48 hours there in Queens, not looking sharp at all. The bats came to play against their former friend, now foe, and Trevor Williams. Brett Beatty has his best game of his young career, and the first of many that we'll see. Francisco Lindor's extra base hits machine, Chev McHits, Pete Alonso, everyone contributed when you need them to tonight. That ultimately led to their victory, but we have a lot to get into, and what was a wacky, a whirlwind, a truly roller coaster ball game that I'm not nearly as happy about as I wish I was. When you see, say, a 9-8 win, you know, how did things go wrong, right? The Mets thankfully still won this ball game, but there's a lot of frustration, a lot to get into as they right away tomorrow night start a 4-game set at home against the Atlanta Braves, in which we'll be having our live podcast tomorrow, 1:30 p.m. Eastern time. Myself, Anthony Recker, and Joe Sorrell, so make sure you guys are chiming in for that one. But we're going to drag this one out a little bit tonight because, like I said, we have a lot to get into. I appreciate everyone chiming in live or on replay, especially here on draft night. For all my football fans out there, if you're a Giants, if you're a Jets fan, whoever you're a fan of, because I'm a Steelers fan, so, you know, like, my team traded up and they got themselves an offensive tackle. Whoop-de-doo, that's great, you know, give me protection for Kenny Pickett. But I know we got a lot of big football fans out tonight, so I appreciate you guys watching live. I know that for especially people on replay, the same applies. I know if you're a hockey fan, if you're a Devils fan, you're at the moon right now. If you're a Ranger fan like me, you are beyond depressed. So the Mets thankfully cured the depression slightly by winning this ball game, even though it wasn't the prettiest outing. And you see Sean D says, let's go Islanders. I'm so happy. Rogers is a Jet. LFGM. I don't even know what's the status of the Islanders series right now. I don't know if they were playing tonight or if that's tomorrow. I know that they won their previous game to bring it back to New York. I don't even remember, honestly, what was happening with the Islanders. I'm not going to lie. I'll have to check on them. But yeah, Jets fans are pumped up about Rodgers, rightfully so. And Knicks, of course, winning in 5. That is fantastic. Hopefully they have another big series that starts Sunday against the Miami Heat. But let's talk about this ball game, folks. Make sure to spam those W's or spam those roller coaster emojis in the live chat. Both apply. We're going to be breaking down innings 1 through 9, what transpired in the ball game, what went right, what went wrong, and we'll go over the key players of the game because I have 2 tonight. I couldn't do 1. I'm sorry. And of course, tonight's show is brought to you by So Rare MLB and Mantis Sleep, but we'll get into more on the partners later in the show as we usually do. Again, appreciate all my live viewers and for people on replay. Really, really does mean a lot. So thank you all so much for chiming in. It's greatly appreciated. And guys, I know that we're going to have an early podcast tomorrow, but depending on how long it takes me to get through this, we may take callers tonight. I might cut it off for people on replay after a little bit once I edit it, after we're live here. So we might take callers tonight. If we do, it'll be like a typical radio format. You're not going to come on screen, but I'm going to bring your audio in. So if you guys chime in, we feel like chopping up, I might take callers tonight. So we'll see on that front. But I want to see how the show goes first of all, because like I said, we have a lot to get into. Plenty positives on the night, but definitely some negatives that are bothering me, and I know are going to be a constant as we get into this Braves series. Hey, Jack, for the donation. Thank you so much. LFGM, he says, great member. We take a win and a Braves loss special going into series together. Yeah, give the Braves credit. You know, they went out today. They had a 4-0 lead in the 9th against the Miami Marlins, and they lost by a final score of 5-4. The Marlins put up a 5-piece on AJ Minter, which we will gladly take. And, you know, I'm not going to rag on them much. The Mets almost crumbled after being up 7-3 today because of CJ Abrams and the Mets hitting every batter imaginable in the inning. It was the reverse. It was the Uno reverse card. Normally it's the Nationals hitting the Mets constantly, not the other way around. Just a terrible inning that we saw there from the Mets in the 8th inning, but thankfully they would stay in this ball game. But let's get into breaking down now. Again, I appreciate everyone being in here, guys. Almost really does mean a lot. But this game was an effing whirlwind, a roller coaster. You know, I'm not going to sit here and yell about it and go on a rant or anything of that nature. Happy they still got the win, obviously, but so much happened in this ball game. It was actually unbelievable. So let's break it down. Let's go through it together. But first, a couple updates for you guys. Justin Verlander is making his rehab start in the minor leagues tomorrow, which again will further line him up to then pitch and make his Mets debut. Yes, in Detroit after the Braves series. So once the Mets hit Detroit, Justin Verlander is coming back activated and in this rotation, facing his former team to start his Mets tenure. And Carlos Carrasco was evaluated. Everything went well, so we're going to wait the next couple days for further steps. But Carrasco looks like he has avoided potential surgery on his bone spur because he's feeling good. So we'll see how that goes. He had himself a shot, cortisone shot, whatever it is, to kind of numb the area, help that area out a little bit. So he might be avoiding surgery for now, which is positive. But again, with a bone spur, he's going to kind of have to ride it out until he say can't bear it anymore. Or if he doesn't produce well enough, then naturally the Mets will just say, hey, you might as well just go get the surgery because you're not going to be benefiting us right now. So breaking down the ball game finally, let's get into it. Brett Baty, Francisco Alvarez in the starting lineup tonight, and that would show, especially on the Brett Baty front. But it starts in the first inning that we'd see because Call, who had a great day, Alex Call, for those who don't know, is the left fielder for the Nationals, and that's all I can say about him because other than that, who's Alex Call, right? I don't know who Alex Call is, but we see Call with a walk, Ruiz with a single, and Thomas with a walk, and that'll do her for the first. So Joey Fuego's on the bump today, another solid outing by him. Surely wasn't the reason why the Mets had pitching problems today. Quite literally, it was the bullpen right thereafter. But as we get to the second inning, because the Mets don't do anything offensively, by the way, guys, this is the 16th or 17th straight game that the Mets have not scored in the first inning now. Yeah, kind of underwhelming, not a good thing to see, and hopefully that changes and fast in this Braves series that starts tomorrow night. Lucchesi with a 1-2-3 inning that we see there in the second inning. We'll take that to the bank for Joey Fuego. In the bottom of the second, though, with one out, Jeff McHitz with a single because, of course, he does. Daniel Vogelback with a single. He had a very solid day at the plate, too. Cano with a shallow RBI sac fly. And the reason why I say shallow is this was a very playable ball in left field. If you just had a Compton left fielder that didn't have a noodle arm and having no clue where he was throwing it, that was the case for Call today. And he just threw it at Keibert Ruiz way off the plate. And McNeil is able to get home safely with ease. Baty with a single, his first a multiple on the day up the middle afterwards. Alvarez with a walk, and then the Mets would not be able to convert on a bases loaded 2-out situation there. But they're up 1-0 as we then head to the third, and the guy who had that not great throw in left field that inning prior, and Alex Call makes up for it with a solo bomb going to right off of Joey Lucchesi. That is the first earned run that Joey Fuego gives up this season. And right afterwards, we see Lindor makes a beautiful basket catch there in shallow left field for a nice catch, and nothing else transpired. So it's a 1-1 ball game as we then head to the bottom of the third. And in the third with 2 outs, Alonso reaches on base via error. Nothing else transpires. So we fast forward to the fourth inning. Joey Fuego with his second 1-2-3 inning of the night. In the bottom of the fourth down with 2 outs, Brett the Met does exactly what we want to see, baby, and that is hit an absolute nuke, his first of the season. And I love Baty's matchup against Trevor Williams tonight. Love Trevor Williams. The Mets got 4 earned off of 5 innings against him. We take that to the bank. I just love the matchup, righty on lefty, but you know, Trev Dog is not known for the velo. He's sitting low 90s. As long as you can barrel him low, especially on the off speed, which he did, that bad boy is out of here. That is Brett Baty's first home run in the 2023 season. It surely won't be the last. So let's get some BBs in the chat. Let's get some Brett the Mets hype in the chat. That's when I see Brett the Met hyped in the chat. Let's see it, baby. Beatty had a phenomenal game today. Huge first home run of the 2023 season. I cannot wait to see more of him, and I want to see him start against Max Fried tomorrow. If is Max Fried pitching? I think it's Max Fried tomorrow. Yeah, I really want to see him go up against Fried tomorrow. Honestly, lefty on lefty, I don't care. Give him the reps. He deserves it. This is what's going to help him in his young career developing wise. Eddie's been good the last couple times he's been out there against lefties. I'll give him that, but I have a feeling Eddie would get carved up against a Fried tomorrow, and I just want to see Baty get those reps, get that experience, see what it's like. Even if he struggles, I want to see him in the lineup because it's rightfully deserved, rightfully so. Right afterwards, another young Met, the 21-year-old catcher, and Francisco Alvarez rips a single, and just like that, the kids are producing with 2 outs. Brandon Nimmo says, how you doing? I'll produce as well with a single. Why? Because Brandon Nimmo has consistently been one of the best center fielders in baseball to start the 2023 season, as we're just about a month in. Marte with a walk, and then Francisco Lindor, just as you heard Gary on SNY saying how it's odd how Lindor only has 21 hits this season, and yet 14 of them are extra base. Well, we're going to make that 15 out of 22 hits as Lindor rips one to right for a 2-run double. Mets would take the lead there in the fourth. You love to see it. Then as we then get to the fifth inning with 2 outs, Call with a single, nothing else transpires, right? But in the bottom of the fifth with 2 outs, Mark Canha with a single, Beatty with his second base knock of the night. He's 3 for 3 on the day with 2 hits and a home run, and that is exactly why he's my 1 of 2 players of the game. Brett the Met, again, barrel that bad boy to center right, and you'll love to effing see it. Guys, I don't know if you agree or disagree, but I had to have Beatty as at minimum one of the stars tonight. He was the only Mets hitter to get 3 hits tonight, and you could have picked multiple guys. There's one guy that I kind of feel bad they don't have him in time because he came up clutch. However, I just felt that the overall baseball that we saw tonight, there was one guy that was deserving of driving the runs, and you know who that's going to be. But Brett Beatty is my 1 of 2 player of the games tonight. I'm cheating a little bit, I know, but considering we don't have Wardy's top 5, I think you guys can handle it. Brett the Met is my 1 of multiple stars of the game, 1 of 2 rather. So as we then get through the 5th inning, as Beatty gets his 3rd hit of the day, we then advance to the 6th with Meneses with a single, Thomas with a single, and just like that, Joey Fuego's night is done after 5 innings that we would see, 5.1 innings for Joey Lucchesi of, at the time, only 1 earned run ball off of 5 hits, 2 walks, 3 strikeouts, had a 0.75 or so ERA. You love that, right? However, what you don't love is Tommy Hunter coming in this situation, because right away, Tommy Hunter doesn't do any benefit. He's not any benefit to Joey Lucchesi out here because Tommy doesn't know what to do with the runners on. He lets them score by the following. Hunter allows Garrett to get a single and Garcia with a pinch hit RBI single. 4 consecutive singles that inning, 2 by Lucchesi, 2 by Hunter, and just like that, a run is driven in. Robles there with an RBI on a fielder's choice. Beatty couldn't get the throw to home in time. He tried for the double play, got the tag at third. A nice throw to first, but Robles, being one of the faster center fielders in all of baseball, he was able to leg it out there to get on base. No less, only 1 run scores in that instance. So then, as we then fast forward, is it 1 run? Actually, I could be, it was definitely, no, it was 2 runs, my mistaken, because it was fielder's choice there. So, Joey Fuego ends with 3 earned runs on his line, but this is where I always get frustrated personally when a starter came out tonight, and again, still had 2 on, no out. For all we know, maybe he was going to give up a 3-run home run. Like, you never know what's going to happen on that front. But what I will say is that it always rubs me the wrong way when you see a starter that you feel like could maybe get out of his jam. Maybe he could get a double play ball there in Lucchesi, and instead we bring in Tommy Hunter, and he doesn't help him out in any way. Like, when those earned runs happen, they always bother me as a fan because I feel it's not deserved for the starter in that situation when he could have potentially got himself out of the jam. It's not like Lucchesi was crazy laboring in that spot. He was at 90 pitches, I understand, but could have thrown a little bit more. But it is what it is at the end of the day. Maybe it would have been worse for all we know, so I'm not going to criticize it too much. However, what I will criticize would be the bullpen soon after. But before we get there, we see a lot of deja vu because Nimmo gets on with a single in the bottom of the 6th, and then Lindor, for the 2nd time tonight, rips himself an RBI double. He has 3 RBIs on the day. He then gets to third base, thankfully, and now he has 15 extra base hits out of 22 that we would see there for Francisco Lindor. Alonso with an RBI single that we would see right after. So you know when Lindor and Alonso are producing, when that happens, good things are destined to happen in the ballgame. The Mets' likelihood of winning when those guys are swinging the bat well is far superior than it is when both those guys aren't hitting, like we've seen the previous not 2, if not 4 days, right? So Alonso snaps his 0 for 19 skid in the process. The Mets continue to tack on, and then Vogie tacks on too with a bloop RBI single in the 6th. The Mets have a comfortable, you would think, 7-3 lead on the Washington Nationals, trying to salvage this series. As we then get to the 7th, Tommy Hunter, smooth, right? That's what you think so far. A 1-2-3 inning in the 7th. At the bottom of the 7th, Beatty gets on base for the 4th time tonight via walkout on base 4 times, 2 singles, and a home run. Love to see that. But in the 8th is where we had all these issues, right? Tommy Hunter should not have started this inning to begin with. I don't know what made Buck think it was a good idea. I understand you have a 4-run lead, but Tommy pitching past an inning or an inning and a half is not going to bode you well. Hunter's not looked sharp to start the year. We've all known that. And especially, aside from, he had like 1 or 2 solid outings. Tommy Hunter is not off to the start that he was with the Mets last year, where he could give you a solid 3.5 ERA for the most part. No, he has not been sharp. And right away, he hits the first 2 batters that he sees, and Keeper Ruiz and Lane Thomas. So there's 2 on, no out. And then Francisco Lindor, who I love, made his 2nd bad error of this past 3 or 4 game stretch that we've seen. Very uncharacteristic of Lindor, and both of them were around that second base area. Was an easy double play turn, couldn't handle it, dived to second base to try to get the force out there, couldn't have it, so its base is loaded with no outs for Tommy Hunter, and that is going to end his night. As you see, Brooks Raley comes in, but the issue is that Raley, who was such a stud over the West Coast trip, does nothing positive when he comes out this time. Garcia with an RBI sac fly, okay, then he hits Victor Robles to load the bases again. And you know what CJ Abrams does? A guy who's not known for power at all, part of that Juan Soto trade last year at the trade deadline, a very solid contact hitter, really speedy guy in the infield. He rips a go-ahead grand effing slam to give the Nationals an 8-7 lead. And when I tell you that I was fully prepared to break something, I was so pissed off when that happened. You guys can relate. You saw it too, right? So I was beyond fuming. That was huge in this ball game. But thankfully, as much as that was frustrating, I wasn't overly concerned about the offense responding, because they responded really well all throughout the ball game, no matter the pitchers that they were facing. So bullpen management did not like that by Buck at all. I mean, Tommy should have been out of the game after even just one hit by pitch that he surrendered, right? Let alone even be pitching in the 8th inning. I love Buck. He's made some very nice creative moves that we've seen in the past with the bullpen, but as of late, he has made some really head-scratching decisions, and it's like, Buck, come on, like, why are we doing this? Why are you giving guys extra leashes when you know we just need to secure the win? Please, don't make this more difficult than it needs to be, and Buck did his fair share of allowing that to happen. Not going to blame it as much as Raley, because Raley's been sharp, and for him not to be, that's on Raley. That's not on Buck bringing him in, especially when you're facing, again, it's CJ Abrams of the Nationals. You should be able to get him out, so that's just poor location and great hitting by CJ there. Though the Tommy Hunter front there, sharp 7th, there was no need to have him out for another inning. I know you're trying to save your relievers as much as possible for the Braves series, but you still have David Pearson pitch in the 9th today, so it's like it only means so much, right? Because thankfully, the Mets would respond right away with the offense by the following. In the 8th, Charlie Marte leads off the inning with a base knock right up the middle and then steals second base. Alonso, after 1 out, ties the ball game with an opposite field RBI double. Alonso is currently leading the NL, if I'm not mistaken, in RBIs right now with at least 24. McNeil coming up, not just McHits, talking about McTriples, baby. That's what we love to see. Rips a deep triple to right, goes off the wall. He drives in the game-winning run, gets to third base. McNeil, he is not one of my player of the games tonight, but for clutch factor, he certainly could have been. If I had to worry his top 5, he'd be right there in my top 3. So apologies for not having him there. Was very last minute trying to get everything edited as well for the show, because, again, offense was happening right till the very end, because then as we got to the night, David Pearson takes care of business with a 1-2-3 inning, gets the save, and just like that, the Mets win by a final score of 9-8. And we have a lot more to get into, but let's talk about the second player of the game tonight, at least for me, aside from that frustrating error that he had in the 8th inning. Francisco Lindor offensively today stepped up. It's so bizarre. Lindor is not hitting for contact to start the year. However, when he is making contact, he's barreling baseballs like no tomorrow, to left, to right. I mean, back-to-back, his first 2 at-bats tonight were not far off from going deep to be an opposite field home run. They were deep and left, making nice catches, was called by the wall there, especially on the second one. So he's going to Oppo twice. Then he pulls one in on his hands for the first two RBI double of the night, and then you see there he rips another RBI double later in the ball game, or the other way around. I mean, Lindor just stepped up big tonight with the bat, and that's huge, because when he's quiet, and when we're seeing the same thing with not only him, but also with Alonso, I mean, this offense is just anemic. It's not what it needs to be. So got to give credit where credit's due. Lindor, they were able to provide the offense, which is what you're looking for in this situation from both these guys, but especially on the Lindor front, that is absolutely huge. That helped propel the Mets in this one. There's no denying that at all. Please stop calling D-Rob, David Pearson D-Rob. No, I'm not going to stop at all, actually. I'm going to continue to call him D-Rob, but I appreciate the concern. Yeah, no, I'm going to continue. That's never changing. But yeah, Lindor, again, that is my second star of the game. I understand if you guys are not feeling loving this. If you want McNeil in there, whoever you wanted, but I got to go with Lindor for my second start because as we look at the hitting stats for the Mets tonight, let's just take a moment to look at this, guys. There's a lot of it, okay? It is the following. Nimmo, 2 for 5. The Mets had 16 hits tonight, folks. 16 hits, an expected batting average of 380, north of 400. They were barreling baseballs left and right. They had a playbook for Trevor Williams, as they should for a guy that was just with the Mets for the previous year and a half. That's what you want to see, and thankfully, the Mets were able to take advantage and barrel some bad boys against him and the bullpen, which was not sharp at all for the Nationals. Both teams' bullpen was not looking good at all. No, I meant you calling Robertson Peterson. Oh, did I call him Peterson? Oh, my mistake. I don't know why I did that. My apologies. If I did that, my mistake. I don't know why I was getting two DPs mixed up with each other. One David Pearson, one David Robertson. Apologies for that if I called him Pearson. I'm rambling, as you can see right now. But Nimmo leading things off very sharp today. Marte coming up when you need him to, including that clutch stolen base that led to a run. Lindor, 2 for 5, as we just discussed, with the 3 RBI stakes. Alonso, 2 for 5 with the 2 RBIs. McHits, baby, with that clutch RBI triple. Hoagie Vogie, you'll love to see from Vogelback production in the DH spot. Not going to complain there. Speaking of DH, Mark Vientos is knocking on the door, hit his 7th home run already of the minor league season in AAA. He wants to get called up, and I'm interested to see when he will at some point this year, right? So we see Vogie there with nice production. Cano, 1 for 4, again, being productive. And then Gourmet in there at third base. He came in as a defensive replacement for Beatty, who went 3 for 3. And same thing with Nito, who got no at-bats. Alvarez had 1 hit today and then grounded into a double play. Again, Alvarez making slow strides, and one thing that did bother me wasn't necessarily Alvarez today, but it's more so what we saw, what was happening against him. Candelario, for the Nationals, decided to swing his bat like a schmuck and hit him in the back of the head twice. Like, get your bat control figured out, my guy. You're drilling, like, that shit hurts. It doesn't matter that you have a helmet on. Can we stop that, please? Hit him in the head not once but twice in 2 separate at-bats tonight. It wasn't even like it was the same at-bat. It was back-to-back. It was 1 at-bat, then a couple innings later, it was again Alvarez getting drilled in the head. They literally need to make sure that he didn't have to go through concussion protocol or something because he kept getting hit in the head. So thankfully, thankfully he's okay, but that was certainly frustrating. And now as we get into pitching stats, I discussed them already, so there's not much more that needs to be harped on that front. Joey Fuego, again, solid outing for him. Wasn't the reason why the Mets had some pitching struggles today, but Hunter, so frustrating, really frustrating too. And then D-Rob doing what he usually does, and that is exactly why we love David Robertson, our save artist. Not the guy we expected to be the save artist to start the year, but he currently is one. Guys, and what I really also loved about this production too on the offensive front is it really, really helped out my So Rare MLB team. As you guys can see, as So Rare is one of our 2 awesome partners on the channel currently. As you can see, I'm ranked in the 2,000 out of over 21,000 people in the tournament right now. Again, I got no production from Lindor and Alonso until tonight, and that was absolutely huge. So I'm going to be getting myself a Commenteer 2 card. That's going to be a really nice card to add to my team. And So Rare MLB, briefly, for those that don't know, isn't just a great partner on the channel, but they are the best MLB fantasy game out there. I mean, you even got John Morosi talking on the MLB Network about it. That's how big this scene is right now. You can buy, sell, and trade your cards. You can earn real dollars by playing this game, not only winning in tournaments, but also selling your cards. And you don't have to spend a dime to enter the game and play for free. You can enter tournaments weekly by drafting your own team. You're your own GM and your own manager, and you enter tournaments weekly. And how you do in said tournaments is based on how these players do in real life. So thankfully, McClanahan, again, wasn't too sharp, but Spencer Strider, who I think is a schmuck, who's facing the Mets this weekend, I still despise him. Don't care that he's a good player and that he's on my team. He's still a schmuck. I have him there. Masataka Yoshida. The only guy that didn't perform for me was Ketel Marte. Obviously, Andrew Chafin did, because Chafin's a stud, but I've been having so much fun playing this game weekly, and how you do in these tournaments is based on the player's performance, but what you can win is upgraded cards that are unique to you, individual cards. You can wear rare or super rare cards that you can sell for good amount of dollars. We're talking the hundreds of thousands of real dollars on the market here, which is so sick, but you can also win upgraded cards in general for your teams that you can can keep on your team if you don't want to trade or sell away. You can also win free merchandise of your favorite team. You can win free tickets to your favorite team's baseball games like the Mets. So many pluses playing this game. I enjoy it so much. And even if they weren't a partner on the channel, I would be playing it right now. That's why all your favorite MLB content creators out there are partnered with SoRare MLB, just like your boy Wardy here. So make sure to check them out in the description down below. And make sure to sign up again, free of charge. You don't have to spend a dime. And make sure to let me know also on social media, on Twitter, by showing me the team you draft, should you go in fact do that. We've had a lot of signups so far since we started the campaign. And I can't thank you guys all so much for, again, using my link. Really does mean a lot. And shout out to SoRare MLB, as always, for being a great partner here in WardyNYM. But I do want to get back into the ball game here, because something that stood out to me wasn't only the offensive breakout that I felt good in. You know, game one, Josiah Gray, I was expecting the Mets to hit. I wasn't expecting them to be that much in the slump coming off that West Coast trip. Wasn't shocked by it, but wasn't expecting it. Josiah Gray had the best slider I feel like we've seen all season from him, and he was really sharp. Then we get into game two yesterday. Mackenzie Gore, I expected Gore to carve against the Mets of at least 6 to 7 innings, and he did exactly that, because the Mets, with any competent lefty, on an average night-to-night basis, you know, 8 out of 10 times are not going to hit well. They just don't. And it's still a kryptonite for them until proven otherwise. So Gore, not shocked by him carving up the Mets. He is the future in that rotation, along with Cade Cavalli, who's going to be coming back from a season-ending injury this year. But they have some nice young pieces, the Nationals, in that rotation. Still inexcusable for the Mets not to hit a lick the past couple days, but Gore, I could at least understand, because I know the flaws with this Mets team. And yes, it's not a good thing. And when Alonso and Lindor don't hit, you know that you're not going to get a whole lot of production from the remainder of that offense. And that's another thing that needs to change, which is why I'm so excited and love to amplify what we saw from Brett Baty. To have this type of production at the bottom of the lineup for Brett the Met, who's batting .320 right now with an .830 or so OPS, his first home run of the year, the first of many. This is what you want from your third baseman. You know, a young 23-year-old third baseman, first getting acclimated to the MLB. This is what I like to see. So it's huge that we get to see this from him as well this early into the season. When when he didn't make the team initially from the Mets, I was thinking, oh, goodness gracious, is he going to be with the Mets any sooner than June? Like, there was concern that wouldn't happen. Some fans were thinking, oh my goodness, this is going to be service time manipulation, which I never really expected. But there was a lot of things flowing around, and with the lack of consistency that we initially saw from Eduardo Escobar, it felt like it was inevitable that we were going to see Brett the Met in this lineup, and to see him called up over the past week plus now, and him producing the way he is, that is effing phenomenal. So Baty, again, if we can continue to get this type of production, that is massive. It will help lengthen and deepen this lineup, and Alvarez continuing to get more at-bats. Again, Alvarez does not look sharp at all, but as a 21-year-old catcher, he's already better than what we're seeing from Tomas Nido right now. Nido's batting right around 100, and Alvarez is right around 170 or so, if I'm not mistaken. Again, bar is low as hell, but it's still better than nothing, because that's how anemic the Mets catching spot has been for a number of years now. Really, a number of years. But I want to know, everybody, how are you guys feeling after tonight's win? People in the live chat, people on replay, make sure to let me know. As always, folks, is greatly appreciated. How are you feeling after tonight's win? What is your confidence level heading into this Braves series? Because I'm not going to sit here and talk too much about the Braves series, because that's what tomorrow's podcast is going to be for our live show at 1:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Myself, Anthony Record, Joe Sorrell. Make sure you're not missing it as we recap this National Series, the highs, the lows, and, the even worse than lows that we saw throughout these first two games, and then this pivotal 4-game set against the Braves. What are the key things to win? But I want to know for you guys, what is your confidence level on a scale of 1 to 10 entering this 4-game stand against the Braves at home? I'm hoping, obviously, that the Mets can, at minimum, split the series. I would love a series win, but this is a big toss-up with this team. And, the rotation that's matching up into this, I really don't know. So, yeah, on a scale of 1 to 10, let me know how you guys are feeling in the live chat. People down below in replay, the same applies to you guys. And after some of you guys in the live chat get to me, if you guys would like, we will take some callers tonight before we wrap things up and get out of here, because we haven't taken callers yet this season. And I said last night, if the Mets actually show some offense tonight, then we will make it happen. And I'm going to do my best to make sure that does. So, confidence level, we're seeing a 6, a 5, a 7. Not confident, says Hines. He's like, I'm not even going to use the number. I'm not confident at all. Buck Showalter really used a quote tonight. Shout out to you, Jenny, for telling me this. Saying, and I quote, "They're going to be a force in our division." Buck Showalter on the Washington Nationals. I love Buck, and I know he's always a class act, but come on. We don't need to be saying that stuff. Not right now, at least. All right, confidence level. Let's see, a 3, a 6, a 4 out of 10. We were having a good mixture of the confidence levels, that's for sure. 7, I guess, says Sprite, great member, delightful, great member. Shout out all my great members live or on replay right now, guys. Appreciate you chiming in as we've been breaking down everything that transpired in this Mets roller coaster victory over the Washington Nationals as they salvaged their series, a best-of-3 set, and they were only able to win 1 out of 3. 9-8 is your final score. You can call me Grant. I'll call you Grant. Personally, I know what the Mets can do. They can definitely bounce back strong against the Braves. They will try to sweep the 4 game. Of course they'll try to sweep the 4 games. I don't see a chance in hell where that happens. But I would certainly like to see that happen if it did. I mean, talk about an early present for me this year. Nothing better than sweeping the Atlanta Braves on a 4-game set. But I think the Mets just win 2. I will be more than content with that. Series 1 will be great, but not going to get my hopes up there right now. Again, I'll expand out more tomorrow because there's clear flaws with this team, and the rotation, how it matches up heading into the series, is not ideal either. And there's likely going to be a doubleheader. I don't think we're going to see baseball played on Saturday. Friday, there's going to be rain later, but hopefully they are able to play it out. Might have a delay Friday. Saturday, I don't think there's going to be a ball game with how the weather's currently looking, and I'm actually going to double check right now. And then, if you guys would like to call in, I'll take a handful of callers before we get to more of the conclusion of tonight's show. But let me see right here for you guys the weather that we're going to be seeing this weekend in Flushing. Let me check through the app right now. Is 50% chance of rain on Friday, 100% chance of rain on Saturday. Now, obviously, I don't know how heavy or to what degree, and Sunday's a 70% chance. So, yeah, there's a damn good chance we're going to see a doubleheader. It'll either come on Sunday or it's going to come on Monday. And there's bad weather, we might have it on Monday, but I know that the Mets are going to try to avoid that for the Braves' sake because that's the final game of the series. So, and then the Mets, of course, go out. They don't even have an off day afterwards, I don't think, before they go to Detroit, if I'm not mistaken. So, yeah, I feel like Sunday would be an ideal day for them to do a doubleheader if they need to, but the weather's not in their favor at all right now. Yeah. They don't have an off day either. So if they did a doubleheader on Monday, that's a long-ass day to then have to fly to Detroit that night and be ready for 6:40 p.m. Eastern the following day. So if it's a doubleheader, they're certainly going to try, I'd imagine, for that Sunday. And doubleheaders suck, but it is what it is. Mets have played their fair share of doubleheaders that we've seen. They played 2 doubleheaders against the Braves last year. They played one earlier in the season. I think it was actually late April or early May. And the Mets split their first series with Atlanta. I'm pretty sure in that 4-game set. It was a doubleheader in one of them. And I think they swept that doubleheader. And then, of course, they had that huge doubleheader that we saw at home later on with Jacob deGrom's return. Mets won 3 of 4 in that series. And then how the season ended is the Mets getting swept in Atlanta to lose first place. So Mets, again, earlier in the season matched up well against Atlanta, did basically throughout the year until it mattered most. So it is what it is on that front. That is last year, now is this year. But guys, I do want to talk to you before we get into taking some of your live calls, because I definitely want to hear you guys call in for the first time. For people on replay, that'll either be cut off, or if it's a longer show tonight, you know why right now. And you don't have to stay on for that if you don't want to, especially when we have our podcast going early tomorrow. But I do, of course, like always, have to tell you guys about our second partner, and that is my good friends at Manta Sleep. For those that don't know Manta Sleep is the best sleep mask out there on the market. I rave about them so much. Yes, I'm grateful to have them as a channel partner, but when I tell you that this thing has been revolutionary for my sleep, I'm not saying anything that is not true right now. This has been in my possession for 2.5, 3 weeks now, and I've been sleeping like a baby on a night-to-night basis. And what I've loved most about the sleep mask is not just how comfortable and flexible it is for someone that sleeps on their side a lot like I do. What I love most is that this has helped me get consistent sleep when I'm doing these post-game shows on a night-to-night basis. This is the reason why I survived the West Coast trip of that 10 games and covering the majority of that series, those late-night games, going live at 1 a.m. plus Eastern. The sleep mask from Manta Sleep, that Sleep Mask Pro exactly that I'm using, has been the reason why. And guys, they have a plethora of options. They have a Bluetooth mask, as you see here. They have the Sleep Mask Pro right next to it, which is what I am currently using. They have a silk mask, sleep mask. They have a silk mask right here. They have a weighted mask that you can add to your pressure points. It's so sick. They even have a Manta Cool mask that you can have it be cold around your eye socket, so that we can get a cold, comfortable sleep. If you guys are like me and sleeping like I just came out of a boiler boiler because I was streaming and juiced up all night. You know, even if I go shower, I'm still hot as a mofo at night. And if you want to be hot, you can have the steam mask as well. So they have a plethora of options. I absolutely love their product. I know that many of you guys have already signed up and use my promo code WARDY for 10% off your purchase by checking out Mantis Sleep in the description down below. But again, thank you guys all so much, everyone that has been supporting the channel, has been supporting and checking out Mantis Sleep. Again, never been an advocate for sleep masks until this came in my possession. When I tell you I like this thing so much, I had this for a week and a half to 2 week basis prior to even starting the campaign on the channel for them being a partner. This is in hand why I became partners with them on the channel, because of how much I love their product first and foremost. So when it was rocking for me, I'm like, let's make a partnership out of this. So that is why they're partners here on WardyNYM, and shout out to them for being great supporters as always. But shout out to all you guys again for the endless support with Mantis Sleep. But guys, let's get some callers in the show. Before we get out of here, I want to take some callers tonight, but let's get into it. Steven, great member as well. Hope you're doing well, my friend. Freezing up here in PA. I'm in PA too. Yeah, the weather was around 60 today. I don't know where you are in PA. Weather was nice today. You know, I've been wearing shorts like every day this week. You know, there was one day that was fairly cold because it was windy, but overall it's been okay. It hasn't been terrible or anything like that. But I do want to get some callers in, so let's go ahead and let's make that happen. So, guys, all you need to do to call into the show tonight, should you wish, if you have interest, is just click on the link that I'm going to have pinned in the live chat right now. You don't need to have your camera on because your camera isn't going to be showing. So all I ask when you guys call in is stay on the topic of the Mets. Stay centric if you can to tonight's game and the Mets as a whole. Try not to go on too long because we're not going to have a terribly long show tonight. But get off your chest whatever you want to talk about Mets-centric. If you have any specific questions for me, whatever it may be, by all means, ask away. And again, thank you so much for your support. Really appreciate it. And again, just be respectful. You guys know the drill. If you're going to be disrespectful, then you're going to get kicked. It's that simple. So let's get some callers in. Let's make it happen, folks. And guys, we're almost at 100 likes, so thank you all so much for that. Continue smashing that like and subscribe button. It's greatly appreciated. If we could get to a couple hundred likes by the end of the live show, or for people on replay, it really does mean a lot. I hope your work call this morning went well. It went fantastic. Thank you so much for asking. It actually went so damn well that we're going to be having a massive announcement on the channel in the next week or so. That's how good that call went this morning. I appreciate you bringing that up, my friend. Thank you. Yeah, that's why I said I need shut-eye yesterday. I wasn't, going to be lollygagging or anything with everything going on. And guys, also, when you join, please make sure that you're using your name that you use on YouTube, so that way I know who you guys are, so I can kind of put you guys in order for people that are going to call in. So, like, for example, if someone just came in as Big Meat Pete, can you just do me a favor, just change your name to whatever your YouTube handle is? It makes life easier on my end, so that way I can, track you guys. But, yeah, I'll take a handful of callers for you guys. I'll take, 4 or 5 tonight, maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit less, depends on how long you guys are taking, because we already have 4 callers in here, which is awesome. Haven't taken callers in a hot minute, so I'm happy to be doing it again. But let me get this figured out for you guys. Give me 1 second. So I'm gonna pin that. You guys want to call in? I'm gonna just take a handful tonight, and it's gonna start here with Hey Jack. So let's bring Hey Jack in. Okay. Hey Jack, do you hear me? Oh. Hold on 1 second. Okay. Hey Jack, do you hear me?
Yeah. Do you hear me?
Yes. Everyone in the live chat, do you guys hear Hey Jack? Yeah, Jack, just continue talking for a second. I just want to make sure the stream's hearing you.
Yo.
Yeah, do some yos. That's perfect.
That's fun. Woohoo.
That's great. Yeah, I think we hear you in the chat. But how you doing, my friend? Thank you so much for calling in.
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm fantastic. Yeah, I mean, I shouldn't say I'm fantastic. I'm good.
Yeah.
Tonight's game was more frustrating than it needed to be, especially just to salvage a series against the Nationals. But we move on. We'll
at this rate, I just needed the Mets to win. My week has been pretty bad, so I just needed them to win.
Yeah. Well, I'm sorry your week has been great, but I hope that this helps us start to get better, and hopefully we get ourselves, regardless on the win-loss total this weekend. I just hope that we get entertaining baseball and that the Mets don't look lifeless like we saw the past 2 nights.
Realistically, I think the Mets do better against good pitching than they do worse pitching.
To start the year, you're right. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's
I just think realistically they lock in against good pitching, and when they face bad pitching, they just look lackadaisical. It's just, I think that's how the Mets play. They just seem to hit better pitching than worse pitching. I don't know why. You think it'd be the opposite, but
yeah. No, I've noticed that. I mean, even when the year started, it was funny. The 2 starters that the Mets hit best against was Sandy Alcantara
Corbin
and
Sandy,
Corbin
I do believe, wasn't it?
Yeah, exactly. So, that's definitely going to change throughout the year. Don't get me wrong, but
sure.
It's definitely encouraging to see the Mets be able to hit competent, good pitchers.
I mean, the only good pitcher they didn't hit was Kershaw, and I mean, I don't blame them not for hitting Kershaw. It's Kershaw.
Yeah, Kershaw had a motive to get his 200th win that night, and the Mets were not standing
just like
way.
Scherzer did last year against the Milwaukee Brewers. I mean, didn't he go scoreless for 7?
Yeah,
something like that.
Wow, that's a core memory right there. Yeah, was that? I'm trying to think. Was that at home?
I think that was the win that got us into the playoffs, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that was one of the final series of the year, right? And that was the one time they performed well in Milwaukee.
Yeah, they won 2 out of 3. That was the only time they ever won a series in Milwaukee.
That's bananas. Yeah, I hate Milwaukee. Yeah. Nothing personal. I do too. I'm sure the cheese curds are awesome. I'm sure the brews are great, but I want nothing to do with that place.
That last game just
oh my God!
I was so hyped when he hit his second home run because he's my favorite player. I was just hyped. I was like, "Let's go!" And then just to see the bullpen fall apart at the end, I was just like, "Damn."
Oh yeah. No, don't remind me that between the Brewers series and this series up until tonight, those are the 2 worst series that we've seen so far this year.
Yeah.
I mean, I think
this win that we got tonight is going to cause us to bounce back, because I think with what happened to Atlanta tonight, the way they lost and the way we won tonight, I think it's going to be good for us. I think realistically, I can see us splitting the series easily. I think we hit Strider fairly well as long as he's not on his A game. I mean, he seems
as long as the Mets get lucky, they're going to hit him well.
Yeah, that is true. According to him, that's all we get our hits is lucky.
Yeah.
But yeah, I realistically think we can split this series. And if we win 3 out of 4, honestly, if we're going to win 3 out of 4, I think we need a doubleheader, because we seem to play really well in doubles.
Yeah. In recent years, at least, you're right. I mean, the Mets played like a record amount of doubleheaders in 2021, and they did pretty well when that was happening. And last year, in key matchups, for the most part, they did well in their doubleheaders. So yeah, no, I agree with you on that front too. It's going to be, again, further interesting how this Mets team matches up against the Braves, but I'm going to save most of those comments for tomorrow, because we literally have a whole segment just on the Braves I'll be discussing. Oh, yeah. So I'll save it for
you definitely need to be. It's the biggest series of the year for sure.
For sure. Yeah, and I'm locked in. I was supposed to. I have some plans this weekend. I'm actually kind of I'm hoping. Part of me is hoping there's a rain out Saturday. Have a family birthday Saturday that I would like to be a part of. And when you're a creator like me, I can only partake in things for so long when it's a big series against the Braves. So
yeah, it seems like the biggest series are always when people have plans.
Oh, of course. I missed the concert I was looking forward to all year last year to cover the Mets final series against the Braves, just to watch their asses get swept. So like this is what you do when you're a diehard fan. That series is
tough. I've never gotten drunk after a series, and that series I had to have something to drink.
You were in the blues. Yeah.
I was so down after that series.
I don't blame you. But hey, Jack, before I get you out of here, do you have any final remarks for me?
No, just let's go Mets and hope to get 2 out of 2. I mean, that's realistically what I want to see. This series is going to tell you what this year is going to be like. I mean, it's early in the year, which kind of sucks to have the series this early, because I'd rather have it towards the end where we need to make up games against them. But hey, let's get 2 out of 2.
Yeah.
Or 2 out of 4.
At minimum, split the series. At best, win the series. I agree on that one. Again, thank you so much for calling in, my friend. I know you've been a great supporter for a while, so you have a good rest of your night, okay?
You keep doing a good job, and I'll keep being a good supporter. Thank you for
so much.
giving us a platform.
I appreciate you, brother. Have a good one.
Yep.
All right, now next on the list, shout out to Jack as well. Let's get some love in the chat for Jack. That was a great combo there. Let's get my man Eddie. Eddie, how you doing, brother? How are you?
Oh boy, living in Atlanta for the past 24 years. Yeah.
Yeah. How are you feeling heading into?
Look,
I mean, I feel like we should just jump right to the chase. You know, you've resided in Atlanta for 24 years. We got our first
yeah,
true big series starting tomorrow. How are you feeling heading into
yeah.
it?
So there's two guys on the radio down here that have pretty much made fun of the Mets forever. It's
Oh, I'm
Chuck and
sure.
Chernoff, if you guys know. They have been banging on the Mets ever since we got swept, last year.
Yeah.
But something tells me that this time, at least for April, I think we're going to be able to handle them and take 3 out of 4.
I
Yeah.
like the way you think. You know, I hope that comes to fruition. Oh my God, we're breaking down the rotation tomorrow. Man, I wish I was confident. You know, Max is supposed to be back May 1st, which is that Monday game. But man, oh man, Jose Buto, David Pearson, Tyler McGill. I love me some Big Drip, but pitching 1v1 ain't looking too hot right now in that matchup. It's gonna be the offense needs to wake up, continue to wake up.
Always doing. Now this is based upon their 19-game schedule. The first series, the Mets always split with the Braves, as you see.
Yeah.
Right. And they sometimes do better. The second series, that's when the problems begin. They haven't done well in the second round against the Braves in forever. And then the third round, you see what happens. They get swept.
I like that you're defining them by rounds, because that's a good way to view how they've went about their matchups with the Braves in recent years.
We only got 2 rounds. So we don't have time, especially down here in Atlanta. I'm going to go to all the games, I think 6 games down here in Atlanta.
Yep.
But I think for Atlanta, they are very confident against the Mets. I mean, very comfortable and confident. Very. And I just have a feeling that it's going to bite them in their ass, at least this time. This series, I think the Mets offense will take control, and they'll take 3 out of 4 games.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I hope so. That'd be fantastic. If the Mets come out with, success over this Atlanta Braves team. And again, this Braves team, they went through a very interesting start to the year in the sense of like they start off nice and sharp. They lost 3 of 4 to the Padres at home when the Padres were not playing good baseball. They have yet to play good baseball this year. They've been very inconsistent with their offense. Then they dropped 4 straight, but again, albeit 3 of those 4 losses in a row were to the Houston Astros, reigning champs. Can't fault them too much there, right? Astros are the better team, in my opinion. But you see this Braves team, they dropped 4 for the first time in basically 2 years. And now you see the Mets, of course, drop 4 straight for the first time since Buck Showalter became manager, a year and a half ago. So it's kind of funny how those two are both kind of not off to the start that maybe some fans were expecting. But at the same time, I feel like that this is pretty much in line, with what my expectations were, what the flaws were with this Mets team. And for the Braves, their biggest flaw right now has been in part that bullpen. They have not been off to a good year healthy. If I'm not mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong, I think Raisel Iglesias has been hurt to start the year, which hasn't boded them well. I could be wrong. If I am, I apologize. But like AJ Minter,
he's out. He's out for a bit.
Yeah, AJ Minter got cooked up again tonight, which led to the Marlins getting those 5 earned in the 9th. I mean, Braves are certainly beatable. They're not like this big bad behemoth that, there's no chance the Mets could go through. The Mets battle with them all year long until you really got down in crunch time, and then they just fell flat on their face.
And the thing is, it's not like the Braves blow them out 14-5. It was 10-9 the last 2 years.
Yep.
10-9. So it's not like they own us, but when push comes to shove, they seem to always be in our way. So let's see what happens this season. If the Mets can get that bugaboo out of their system that they can't win late against them, and I think we can turn it around.
Yeah, no, I'm with you, my friend. And again, I appreciate the positivity, especially you and ATL. I can only imagine how miserable it's been, especially at the end of last season. I think if there was one positive to come out of the Braves taking first place, is that they did nothing with it. I mean, they looked they were the same as the
They
Mets.
did.
You could even argue the Mets had a better season because the Mets had one less loss than what the Braves did. So I mean,
I think.
it's
Well, I
however
think
you
the
want to
Mets
go
and
about it.
Braves beat each other up. They beat each other up so bad they had nothing left for the playoffs. They had
Yes.
nothing left.
I wholeheartedly agree. I think a big factor that went into the Mets' demise last year was, one, underestimating their opponents in the final month of the season, obviously, and two, knowing that the Braves were nipping at their heels all year long, and at some point, things were going to turn over. Things were going to change. And being in Atlanta too for that final series definitely was salt in the wound. I feel like things could have been different. The Mets had that home advantage because that's so pivotal when it's a playoff-like atmosphere down the stretch in your final series of the season with only a couple more games to go on the regular year. So, yeah, I mean, definitely a lot to take away from last year. But again, this is a new Mets team. This is a new Braves team, and I'm excited as all hell to see them match up because this rivalry is alive and well. And as much as our fan bases love ragging on each other, I mean, it's great for the sport. I love that the Braves are the Braves because I love rivalries. They're probably my favorite aspect of being a sports fan, if not one of them.
I agree with you on that one. So let's teach the city of Atlanta, don't mess with the Mets.
Oh, you said it, boss. Appreciate you calling in, Eddie. You have a great rest of your night, okay? And enjoy your weekend.
All right, thanks, Wardy. Later.
Bye-bye. All right, guys, we got another caller in here, and that's probably going to wrap it up for the night. Eddie's an absolute beaut. He's called in before. It's always great conversations with him. But now let's get in my man, AZ. It's been a hot minute. AZ, you can't see him on the screen, but you guys know AZ. He called in plenty times last year for our post-game shows. How's it going, man? How are you?
It's been a roller coaster already, and we're only a month in the season, almost close to a month.
Yeah.
Oh, it's nuts. That's what you sign up for. You start off with a roller coaster.
Yep. Very, very Mets-esque of them. Thankfully, they're it's not like they're in a hole or anything. They're 4 games above 500 now. They're 15-11. Would have been nice if they didn't just have that 4-game losing stretch. But again, the Mets are going to lose at minimum. They're going to lose at minimum like 60 to 70 plus games this year. So, it's the first of many that we're going to have to go through.
It's been tough. The losses to Milwaukee does really it hurt my soul seeing that. Getting home runs off like guys like Bryce Terang, who's a rookie.
Oh my! Just Garrett Mitchell. I mean,
Uh,
Terrain, and what's that other kid's name that was just called up for that series?
I forgot his name.
The outfielder.
I forget.
Yeah, he had a bomb or two as well. Yeah, they were just carving up the Mets.
But I just hear a few of my Milwaukee friends keeps putting in the chat rooms Bryce Terang just to mess with me.
You have friends that are Brewers fans? Really?
Yeah, a couple of them on my Discord. We play a lot of video games together.
Okay, yeah, Discord, that makes sense. Every time that I've interacted on Discord, you get people from all different fan bases right away, and they're all just ragging on each other and shit. So that makes sense.
Yeah, a couple of them just put out Bryce Terang in the chat rooms, and just to mess with me.
How are the Brewers looking right now? I'm actually curious because I know that they went on a snide for a bit. The Brewers are currently 16-9. Okay, so they're still playing solid baseball. They had a losing skid, but they won their last game. So okay, all right.
Yeah, I didn't give the Brewers much of a thought this season, but they're turning out to be a really solid baseball team.
It shows you it's early in the season though when the team that's going to come out in first in that division is currently in last. So, and that's the St. Louis Cardinals. They're 10-16.
Oh no. But what how do you don't if you told me the Pirates were going to be the funnest team in baseball, I would have called you crazy.
Without O'Neal Cruz. I think that's the crazy part of it. I feel so bad
their star
for him
player
with that damn ankle. He just slid terribly. That led to that injury. But yeah, and Andrew McCutchen, he's got Pittsburgh feeling like old Pittsburgh again. We're back. It's 2012. The fan base is there. I'm happy for them because Pittsburgh is a phenomenal sports town, and they deserve some entertaining baseball because they've not had it in a very long time. They just locked up Ryan Reynolds as well. I mean, they're actually, gotta give them credit. As much of a schmuck that their owner is, They're actually making some
Yeah.
proper decisions. So you have to give them
Yeah, no
props for
one
that.
outside of Stuart Sternberg, there's a plenty of other very cheap owners out there.
Yes. Yeah, for sure. But going back onto the Mets front, AZ,
Yes.
before we wrap things up soon, I want to ask you, what is your confidence level heading into the Atlanta series that starts tomorrow night?
I'm cautiously optimistic. I would think there's a floor and a ceiling. The ceiling we can win 3 out of 4. The floor is around 1 or 2.
Yeah, I think the floor is losing the series for sure, and the ceiling is 3 out of 4. I don't see a chance in hell that this Mets team sweeps. Would I love it? Absolutely, but I mean,
Of course.
I mean, they haven't. Why would any rational fan think the Mets are just going to go and casually sweep the Braves in a 4-game set?
No, of course.
3.
I would love to rag on the Braves.
3, you could understand more, especially if, say, the Mets had Max and JV and Senga as like their 1, 2, 3, which I'm sure we will see later on the season. But okay, we got David Peterson, Tyler McGill, Jose Brito, and then Scherzer, who has yet to be activated because we still got a couple more days for him.
Right.
That's the only
Peterson, I'm very scared of.
Yeah,
as of now.
I'm going to talk more about it tomorrow, but in a nutshell, I am scared as all hell. The Braves barrel lefties unbelievably well, and Peterson isn't even getting lefties out right now. And I see Matt Olson, right now, but like I'm not happy thinking about.
Oh
that.
my god!
I'm not looking forward to it. I'm genuinely
I can
not.
see.
I hope that he proves me wrong.
I can see Tyler McGill having a quality start.
I can see McGill giving us 5 top 6 innings of 3 earned run ball. It's David who just is. David has the stuff, but he's not locating at all right now.
No,
he hasn't even been walking guys, but he's just throwing so many hangers, and he's showing a lack of confidence. But again, I digress. I'll say more of that for my podcast tomorrow. But yeah, so you're cautiously optimistic for tomorrow. That's a fair thing to say.
If anything, I would love to see this Mets team roll 3 out of 4 out of the Braves, so I can go in and rag on the Braves as I would think I would do.
Yeah,
but
for me this year, I feel like if the Mets say win this series, I'll be pumped up and I'll do the normal ragging, but it won't be like anything overly. I feel like when the Mets took 3-4 from the Braves in the summer last year, that at that point, that is where I felt, wow, like, okay, this Mets team is not invincible, but they're different. And I drank the Kool-Aid just a little too much. I didn't completely write off the Braves, but I was damn close to. And that was the first mistake I made. So this year, very different mindset.
I'm pretty sure all Mets fans made that mistake.
This goes for even the Phillies. Phillies off to a slow start, but they're going to be fine. I think the Phillies have a very good chance of potentially being the best team in this division this year. And no one's talking about them. I know Taijuan Walker just exited yesterday with injury, but Bryce has already had a schedule. Like that team, they're going to be good.
I'm not sleeping on the Phillies.
You can't now.
I'm not sleeping on them just yet. They still have Trey Turner. They still have Bryce Harper. Exactly. They still have Kyle Schwarber, who kills the Mets. He breaks my heart every time he plays the Mets. Because I like Kyle Schwarber. He's a fun dude.
Dude, I liked him until he decided to be the Mets' biggest nemesis when he signed
with
the Nationals. And then when he went to Boston, did the same thing still. And now with Philly, the same thing. So, like, Schwarber would have been great if he was a Met. And looking back, at the time, I was like, I can understand why the Mets didn't give a 220 hitter $80 million over 4 years. However, the lack of pop that this offense has and how it still hasn't been addressed really makes it look like a bad look in hindsight, because Schwarber might not be a big contact guy, but you don't need him to be when the Mets have better contact hitters around that lineup. So that was a genuine mistake by this front office to not consider him more than maybe what they did.
Yeah, I go back all the time just thinking, why did we let Kyle Schwarber slip away from us?
And better yet, why let him go to the Phillies? I think
that go to the to one of our division rivals. Yes,
like if they had any inclination that Schwarber would be going to Philly, it's like at the time it was kind of funny because it's like, oh, they have all these DHs and Castellanos and Schwarber, And Harper isn't going to be playing the field. So it's like, what are they doing here? And their defense was absolutely cheeks last year, but then as they got to postseason, they rectified it, and by putting Castellanos in right and changing their defensive alignment, he was able to get to fly balls better. That really helped them.
I remember a really good short where they said they put Castellanos more deep so he can make these fantastic catches. And it worked. It worked out. They made the World Series. Didn't win, which I'm happy about. But it shows how impressive that their adjustments were.
Oh, for sure.
And it's back to it. I'm not sleeping on the Phillies just yet. The Mets are going to be all right, but I worry about the Phillies.
Yeah. No,
almost as more as I worry about the Braves because they're good as well.
Yeah. Now, again, top dogs in the NL East. It's going to be a dogfight this year, but that is going to do it, AZ. I appreciate you calling in. First call-in show of the year. I know that you'll be calling in again in the future, so know that I really appreciate your support, and looking forward to a hectic weekend. So, having you in the chat per usual.
It's going to be something. But as always, for better or worse, let's go Mets.
For better or worse, let's go Mets. Appreciate it, my friend. Have a good rest of your weekend, okay?
Yep, you too.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Shout out AZ. Shout out to everyone that was so kind to call in tonight, guys. Again, that'll be the first of many times that we do callers here on the channel. Hopefully, we do a call-in show at some point this weekend. That'd be fantastic. Maybe tomorrow. If the Mets play a good game tomorrow, that'd be great too. Definitely eyeing that. Was initially actually supposed to have plans with a buddy because, hold on one second. Okay, let's get this all fixed up. Was initially supposed to have plans with a buddy of mine. His birthday was the other day. But those plans canceled because just life came in the way for him. So I will just be covering the game tomorrow, win or lose. So hopefully we get a nice product tomorrow to talk about. But guys, again, running through everything. Tonight's shows are brought to you by Man to Sleep and Sorare MLB. To everyone that has signed up using the links down below in the description, thank you so much in advance. It's greatly appreciated. Great supporters on the channel. And yeah, we're gonna have a very big announcement coming on the channel in the next week. Is when probably we're eyeing. Have to hash out a couple more things, but yeah, probably if not the biggest channel announcement yet here since we started YouTube. One of them. This is probably top 3 or 4, I would say, and significance and how effing awesome of an announcement we have coming on the channel. So all you got to do is to stay tuned, and you're going to see what is unveiled. I'll probably announce it on Twitter first, and then you'll see on the YouTube channel or on the community tab. So stay tuned, guys. Over the next week or so, we have some big news coming at you. Until then, though, we have a big Braves series tomorrow. Podcast 1:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Myself, Joe Serralo, Anthony Recker, you boys are back at it, and we are going to be talking shop on the Mets in the series, the Braves series, everything in between. How can the Mets overcome the Atlanta Braves in this 4-game set, if at all? And what are we liking and not liking about this team that I think we all know by now. But guys, thank you so much for watching, listening. Really appreciate it. Our longest post-game show of the year. Won't be our last. Until then, have a great rest of your night, day, evening, whenever you're watching this. And this is Wardy signing out. Let's go Mets, baby. Peace.